The ongoing pandemic has precipitated various socioeconomic challenges impacting people from every demographic. Our research findings address key problems of post-secondary remote learning, thereby making a strong case for digital resilience policies.
My name is Shafa, and I'm from Queen's University.
My name is Atsuki. I'm from Ritsumeikan University.
Hi, my name is Riko. I'm from Seinan Gakuin University.
My name is Sophia from the University of Waterloo, and together we are SARS.
Today we'll speak about our research from the given articles and additional external research. We will also cover our own research and survey that we conducted on Canadian and Japanese students and professors. We'll go over those results and ways to address the top 5 concerns from the survey. And lastly, we will cover policies and steps to a brighter future.
We conducted research focusing on the structure of Japanese universities and the communication between professors and students. Firstly, I would like to talk about how college life works in terms of our learning environment. Now that a large portion of higher education is using remote learning and teaching, one of the salient features that we should focus on is the lack of communication. According to the article, The Shape of Post-Pandemic University Education by Haruaki Deguchi, a university is a form of business that makes sense only when it provides students a physical environment for learning. On the other hand, online learning and teaching are often very convenient for both professors and students. We don't have to commute or wait between classes when attending classes from home. There's a high possibility that we will continue to have online classes even in a post-COVID world, but there are still problems.
Now, let's move on to talking about unique problems in Japanese universities. I'll deal with 2 problems. The first problem is that some students cannot take online courses with sufficient technology conditions. Generally, online courses require more than 20 gigabytes per month. However, according to research conducted by Rikkyo University, about 14% of students can use less than 20 gigabytes per month. The second problem is that more than 50% of private universities and vocational schools depends on tuition fees too much. In fact, revenue from the tuition fees makes up for about 50%. That's why private universities cannot lower the tuition even if students are struggling with paying.
As the article provided to us by the TIA Institute indicates, we need universities to reflect on their mission and population to implement change during and after COVID properly. Some key areas to consider when planning for an uncertain future are the 4 sources of capital, which are human, financial, physical, and reputational. I'll quickly go over them. Human, being empathetic of the students and alumni skills and knowledge. Financial, taking into consideration the finance that is available to institutions and students like financial aid. Physical, available buildings, technology, and other physical assets. And lastly, reputational, mostly includes mission, values, leadership, and contributions to local community and society as a whole. I also did some extra research at my school library at Queen's University and my community. I found that when initially policies were made for schools and institutions, the government of Canada did not consider providing support for the community if their school was infected. For example, in Kingston, Ontario, when a student was tested positive for COVID, the whole school shut down and a backup plan was not efficiently provided, leading to a challenging experience for students, especially students with disabilities and professors. Therefore, we need to take into consideration the plans and accessibility of our society and students.
One of the assigned papers for the forum highlighted that the Canadian schools in focus focused on the business continuity model. They sought to finish classes, ensure housing stability for vulnerable students, and continue with vital university operations such as research, all of which are important. However, there was a lesser focus on academic continuity. Classes continued with minor improvements with the transition to online school, but professors were given a significant amount of discretion, and thus solutions depended on each university. However, in May of 2020, the Government of Canada created a survey asking students about the impact of COVID-19 on their lives relating to education and work. Some important statistics are on your screen right now. As you can see, the focus is primarily on part-time jobs and graduations concerned, but not about the new normal of online learning. Given that only 15% of students around the world were fully online before COVID-19, we believe that there was a lack of relevant questions about the new normal. Therefore, we created our own survey.
We designed a survey asking both students and professors about the concerns with the transition to remote learning and the response of the government in facilitating this change. We wanted to reflect official government surveys, so we made it in the official languages of Canada and Japan, English, French, and Japanese. We have collected over 100 responses from students and professors, which is a substantial sample size.
And this bar graph shows one of the results of our survey. We asked what have been the biggest problem with remote learning and teaching, and they selected 3 issues from 12 questions. The top 2 issues are over 60%, and the rest of 3 are over 40%. We can find the similarities that most concerns, top 1, top 3, top 5, have resulted from the communication problems. We wanted to factor in mental health too, not just schoolwork.
Here are some of the popular comments from the survey. As you can see, many students found it difficult to discern between free time and school time, or they save more time because they don't have to commute and they could watch lectures whenever it works best for them. Also, we find it interesting that most of the comments from Japanese students are quite positive, but on the other hand, many of Canadian students seem to be not satisfied with their situation. Based on the aforementioned concerns, we have created a 4-step policy. They are as followed: technology, communication, post-COVID learning, and health.
As you can see from the slide, here's the data regarding the satisfaction of the government in responding to COVID-19. And on this slide, clearly, most participants are not ecstatic about continuing with online school, given the population average was 2.68 out of 5, but this will be a necessity.
I conducted a Mann-Whitney U-test analysis that finds differences in rankings between 2 pools of data to assess students' opinions on the level of satisfaction for the government's responses to COVID-19, as well as their opinion on the prospect of continued remote learning. I discovered that the responses were different for government satisfaction, with Canadian students generally being more content. However, there was no statistically significant difference regarding the level of satisfaction for continued remote learning. This roughly means that Canadian and Japanese students are not exactly happy about remote learning. That is why we brainstormed policies that would be universally applicable. We also noticed that the governments of Canada and Japan both have instructional policies for post-secondary educations, but few aligned with the exact concerns from our survey. In general, the governments instruct universities to encourage online learning, but not exactly how to do that from a technological perspective. So given that most of the concerns from our survey were technological, we focused on digital resiliency for our policy pitch. Digital resiliency is an investment in online education with a proper emphasis on the science behind learning. In a post-secondary context, this means reevaluating current technology systems, adopting new technologies, and strengthening long-term systems to improve online learning.
Now, we look at individual problems in detail. There is a problem that multiple applications like Zoom and Google Classroom cause students and teachers to mess up because too many applications are difficult to manage. To solve this problem, the government should create a standardized SMS platform for student engagement in each university. This platform aims to promote communication between students and professors. Also, before every semester, students get a questionnaire from university where they will be able to say if they have a problem or accommodation. Universities should allocate budget for students who do not have resources.
Another aspect of a technological policy would be to create a lifeline that connects professors to the government so that they are more directly represented, which will allow for professors to have a greater influence on education policy. Also, the government should try to research ways to engage students by creating surveys that are related to certain issues that students have. Another policy that needs to be discussed is communication. Communication, specifically, the development of the standardized program of communication between students and professors, and interdepartmental communication involving methods of course instruction for professors.
The third focus should be on the future of hybrid learning, which is a likely prospect in the coming semesters. We encourage the government to research technology solutions for simultaneously in-person and online classes, which affords students more accommodations. This entails an investment in virtual programs that allow for more interaction with activities such as labs and extracurriculars other than Zoom. This ameliorates two of the biggest survey concerns, being by increasing hands-on activities and solving motivation problems.
The last and most important policy is health. So we need to take into consideration physical health like physical fitness. We also need to take into consideration mental health like stress, fatigue, and anxiety. This is important especially for people with disabilities because we need to consider their general health as they are affected differently. Overall, we believe these policies cover all of the biggest concerns. From our presentation, we learned that we need to listen to our students and professors to create a strong digital community that is empathetic and successful. Our policies that we have highlighted supplement hybrid learning, which is a great step for future education systems of Japan and Canada. Lastly, simply with our survey that received 104 responses, we were able to listen to our communities both in Canada and Japan. So change is possible, and I believe we have a bright future ahead.
Here are our exterior research findings, and now we will discuss briefly our experiences.
Please let me share my experience in this lockdown period as a Japanese student. During the lockdown period last April, I was attacked by loneliness and I couldn't find the meaning of existence. I tried to find the meaning of existence, so I challenged various things. I had countless experiences such as KPMG essay contest, rhythmic cooking contest, and making student organization. Unfortunately, I discovered the purpose to live, and I could enjoy every day in another way before the lockdown. Coronavirus has taken away a lot of fun activities and encounter with classmates, but at the same time, coronavirus creates some opportunity for us.
For me, the pandemic allowed me to view some of the areas that we need to improve to create a more inclusive environment for all students, institutions, and communities, both in Canada and Japan. The JACAC Forum allowed me to explore this and completed in-depth research in foreign policies and relations, which is a topic I had never explored in my undergraduate program in kinesiology. So I was able to explore topics outside of my comfort zone and expand my knowledge in these areas. Overall, I am grateful to be able to improve on my past skills such as communication, leadership, teamwork, and time management as we conducted this presentation. This experience has shaped my future career path and allowed me to implement the new knowledge I have gained in any area.
Thank you. So I think I will talk a little bit about my experience. So the pandemic has pushed me to think of new ways of communication in the new normal. Thanks to the research and online methods of conduct that I have been able to pursue via the JACAC forum, I have been provided with new technological perspectives as to how I want to develop critical skills, such as administrative organization and data visualization best practices. The forum overall has been for sure an academic as well as personal milestone for me, and one that has shaped my future career objective in foreign policy and international governance.
For me, this forum meant a lot to me, especially during this pandemic that is happening around the world. I had never been the kind of person who wants to put themselves in challenging situations before. However, I was wondering what I can do as a young citizen and English learner when I saw this event. And I immediately thought this has to be the one that I'm going to start with and decided to apply for it. I knew I needed to really dedicate myself to this project because I knew I'm not great at expressing how I feel about things or sharing my opinions, especially in a language which I'm still learning and feel insecure about speaking in. It was indeed hard to work with the members from different backgrounds with a huge time difference in my second language. However, all of my group members were very intelligent and have unique opinions, and yet they were all willing to listen to what other members have to say, respect and accept different opinions and merge our opinions after a lot of discussion. So I can confidently say that I learned a lot of important things in about a week through this event. and I am more than glad I participated in this event.
We believe that online student forums will allow more access to beneficial programs like the Japan Canada Academic Consortium. Therefore, we encourage the implementation of like-minded projects, but also for various countries. It has been a memorable experience that has allowed me to develop vital skills for the increasingly globalized future.
Thank you et merci pour votre attention.
C'était une expérience bénéfique pour nous.
ご清聴いただきありがとうございました。
ありがとうございました。谢谢。